So if you have been looking for a fast wide-angle lens, check this out. Now, to be perfectly clear, this falls more into the hack category than the solutions category, but it is a pretty cool hack. Done for the day, I'm heading home. Now, I only have a few minutes, but I wanted to show you this because I haven't posted a video in like a month, and I think that this is actually pretty cool, and it's this. This is a wide-angle converter. Now, what this is back when we were using point-and-shoots and camcorders, they had a fixed zoom range. A lot of the times, you couldn't go any wider than 28 millimeters, which when you're trying to get a wide-angle shot, 28 millimeters can be frustrating because it's just wide enough that you're like, I feel like I should be able to get this shot. Then you try it and you're like, this is just not wide enough. In comes the wide angle converter, and this would screw on the end of either your camcorder, point and shoot, or even a CCT lens and give you a wider field of view. Now, the shot you're looking at right now is with the 22mm lens on the M50 with no stabilization, and it's exactly 1 arm's length away from me. And now I have not moved the camera at all, have not adjusted any of the settings. All I did was add the wide angle converter on the end of it, and this is how much more field of view that you get from this lens. The sun just came out and it's totally throwing this off now. Now, why is this valuable, since this is only about as wide as you're going to get with the kit lens? Well, it's valuable because when you put it on the 22mm, you now get the same field of view as your kit lens, but you get an f2. So if you're shooting in low light, then you are going to get a much wider aperture. As I like to show, this is at f3.5 and this is at f2. It makes a huge difference. And then the biggest advantage of getting this over something like, say, the Sigma 16mm f1.4, which is an amazing lens. I so want it, and I so am planning on getting it. Maybe, I don't know, now that they might kill off the EFM line, I'm not that keen on getting another M50 lens. It's really hard because that lens looks really good. Comparing the price of getting this adapter, which is $10 or less, as opposed to buying a $400 lens, that's a pretty big price difference. And now if you have to buy the 22mm lens along with it, then it gets up and it's less of a sure decision. But a lot of M50 shooters already have the 22mm lens, and so getting something like this sort of as an in-between thing, not as a replacement by any means. This is not going to replace a 16mm f1.4. Now, I bought this for $750 at a thrift store, but then I've also seen them on eBay for like $10 and under. And so you cannot expect to get the same quality out of something like this as you would out of, say, a speed booster with a DSLR lens or out of a $400 Sigma contemporary lens. It's totally different. If you look at this, my hand is about the same plane as my face, and yet if you look over at the sides, the edge-to-edge sharpness doesn't exist on this lens. If you go too far out here, too far out there, no matter if it's in focus or not. Now, as a vlogger, I'm actually kind of okay with that. In fact, it almost feels a little bit like those more shallow depth of field. If you need edge-to-edge sharpness, this is definitely not a good option for you. Also, I think that this actually lessens the light transmission through the lens. I don't know that for certain, but I just can't imagine that low quality glass is not interfering with that light transmission. Another thing is it's not coated very well, unlike a lot of the lenses we have, so it flares, but it doesn't flare in a way that's like cool lens flares across your lens, like say my Tamron 28mm. It flares in a way where it basically just washes everything out. There's all of the downside of flaring with none of the upside. Now, the autofocus does work, but I can't imagine having something that's about the weight of the lens sticking off of the lens is really that great for the autofocus motors. Even though I haven't had any problem, there is a potential that over time it could put a lot more wear and tear on the motors of your autofocus. But I mean, the autofocus does work, which I was actually pretty impressed with. Now, if you're planning on using this like I am with the 22mm lens at f2, definitely need to pick up an ND filter. It just happened that my GH5 ND filter was the same thread size as the front of this adapter, but I will leave a link down in the description to the adapter. Gonna have to go to eBay, could not find any on Amazon. That link won't be affiliated. We'll also leave Amazon affiliate links for the ND filter as well as the step down link. Well, that is it for this one. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, give me a like. Thank you all for sticking with me. I know it's been a while since I posted any content, but I am going to try my best to get back in the saddle to start producing regular content. And I hope to see you down in the comment section of this video, and I hope to see you next week in the next video.